Hello, you wonderful people. In this video, I want to talk about the AI hype and how the hype may be hurting you. Now, if you're already working in the industry as a developer, great, this video does not apply to you. But if you are a beginner, you're looking to learn to code, and you happen to find yourself on YouTube and you see these videos how AI is taking over jobs, how developers are getting laid off and replaced by AI, and you are wondering, is it still worth for me to code in 2024? Or should I learn to code in 2024? Well, the answer to that question is stop listening to the hype. Nobody knows what's going to happen with AI. I don't know what's going to happen with AI. But I also know a lot of developers who tell me that they're not worried about AI taking their jobs. They're perfectly working at their jobs, coding along. If you hear stories of layoffs, of people losing their jobs, it is just the way the tech industry works. You have your layoffs, and then companies will rehire. It is a flow, it is a circle of life. And I know this because I go on walks with my friend who works with a huge company, and he told me how his company had layoffs. The company I work at had layoffs. And nobody is immune to this. But he said after the company laid off a bunch of people, a few months went by, they went ahead and rehired more people. Layoffs work in mysterious ways. A lot of times they happen before a quarterly report is due, where a company just wants to figure out how to make the numbers look nice. I'm not saying that is the case for everybody, but layoffs is just the fact of life. I just recently talked to the developer who is almost retired, and he told me, I've been in this industry for 35 years. I've been laid off a tons, and every time I'm laid off, I go ahead and find a job. I also went to a meetup where I talked to a bunch of people, where some people were laid off, and some people that I met a couple of weeks ago, they are now hired. And so that is the way the industry works. So when you see things about AI, about layoffs, you start to think, is it worth for me to pursue the thing that I like? Is it worth for me to learn to code? And the truth is, you should do it. You should not worry about if AI is going to replace you. But what you should be worried about is the fact that, let's say you decide to quit to code. You give up and you go on your life trying to figure out whatever else thing you could do. And there's plenty of things you could do, but you like coding. You want to have a job as a coder or a developer or a programmer, whatever the term is. And if you stopped, and let's say you have a friend, Bob, and he didn't stop. He kept studying. A year goes by, 2 years goes by. All of a sudden, Bob got a job as a developer. He's making some money now. How are you going to feel? Are you going to be upset at yourself for giving up and then hating Bob for getting this job and being like, what the hell? And some of you might tell me, Paul, that is a BS story. And the story that I made up about Bob is complete BS. But I'm going to tell you another story. And if you're some of these people that I'm talking about, God bless you, I'm so sorry. I am not going to use names though, because I don't want to call you out. So a long time ago, when I first started this journey, I used to have a Slack community and we had a bunch of people on it. And we used to do coding projects together to kind of motivate everybody to work and learn. And there was a bunch of people in the community. And there was one particular girl, I'm just going to say that, she was a girl. And then there's some guy. And she literally just did the work. I told her, we are working on building a project which needs to include HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. She went ahead and built a project. You know, no questions asked. You know, like she just did it. And then we're like, well, once you build that HTML, CSS, and JavaScript project, your next step should be to convert it to a React project. And she did it. No questions asked. And I wasn't teaching her anything. I was just telling her, listen, just do the work and here's the things to learn. She bought a bunch of John Smilga courses and she just did them. And lo and behold, one day she sends me an email. She's like, Paul, check out this portfolio site I built. I was like, wow, it's really awesome. And she had a bunch of portfolio projects. I'm like, that's so cool. You're doing the work. You're doing amazing. And while she's going through all this process, there's a guy who joined my community around the same time. and he just keeps asking questions. But I'm noticing, I'm like, hey, you have these questions about, can you show me your work that you're doing? And he's like, oh, I didn't start yet. So 2 years goes by. She sends me an email. She's like, Paul, you're not gonna believe it. I got hired. And I was like, that is so amazing. I was so proud of her, but I wasn't surprised. Why? Because she did the work. She just kept on moving, and eventually she got hired. This other dude, he didn't. 3 years later, he sent me a resume. He said, Paul, can you tell me what changes I had to make about this resume? And my answer to him was, you already asked me this question a long time ago, and you didn't make those changes the first time. So there are going to be people that are going to look at the outward world and be like, there's no hope for me. I shouldn't try. And then there's going to be people like this girl who were like, you know what? Screw it. I have nothing to lose. I'm learning something new. I enjoy it. I'm going to go for it. So instead of waiting, she found her own opportunity through studying, through applying to jobs, and she got hired. So instead of listening to whatever is on YouTube or on Twitter, because there's always going to be some scary negative news that's going to convince you not to do the thing that you want. She just did it and she got a job. And you know what? Her success is not guaranteed, right? And your success is not guaranteed. And my success is not guaranteed. But the biggest problem that you're going to have is if you quit learning to code today, and when the job market picks up, or let's say you keep with it and you improve your skill and you're now in a position that you're hireable, are you going to kick yourself in the butt for quitting learning to code because you were scared of some AI hype or some other BS? So you don't have to listen to me, but I happen to be some random dude on the internet who started this channel honestly as a joke to see if I could get hired. Because when I was first trying to get a job, I got sucked into the hype of people saying how easy it was and how in 3 months anybody could be a developer. And then for me, 4 years later, I'm like, those dudes were freaking liars because it didn't take me 3 months. It took me 4 years. I'm not saying that's how long it's going to take. I mean, I should have probably went and got a computer science degree since it took me 4 years. But the truth is, there's always going to be hype both ways. Hype of how easy it is, then there's going to be stuff how hard it is. You know, Terminator is going to take over. This is going to happen. But the truth is, at the end of the day, people are still writing code today. There's still plenty of developers out there. The industry is still growing. And so my only question for you, who are you going to be? Are you going to be like this girl who just put her head down and worked her ass off and got hired, and now she's been in the industry? I think she's already going on her 4th year. I want to catch up with her. I do want to invite her on a live stream, but I'm not going to call her out right now. Because if the other guy is watching the video, I don't want him to be jealous either. Or are you going to be like that other guy who did nothing for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and then he just kind of fade out? And so the point is, the reason why I got a job is because I just never quit. I kept going after it, and now I'm on my 4th role. So you decide which side are you on this story. And you could say whatever things you want in the comments. Please, I love reading your comments, negative or positive. One of the best comments I got, how someone accused me of not knowing HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It's actually a great video. It's called React versus JavaScript. Go check it out. But with that being said, the reason I'm actually making this video, because the thing that would hurt me most is if someone who quit to code could have been a person who would actually eventually get hired. So keep hope, keep it alive, keep it going, and you got this. With that being said, let me know in the comments if you like these type of videos. I just wanted to test out this new portable mic so I could tape on the go, but I also wanted to tell you a great story. I hope it was great. But with that being said, I'll see you in the next video, and I don't know when that's going to be, but hopefully soon. Bye, everybody.